Hey everyone, it's me, I'm back, and today we're going to finish attaching large borders to your quilt. So we're going to get started right now. My son, Chris, is going to be the cameraman again today.
Hi guys.
And Sophie will probably be in the background. That's my dog, and that's why my living room looks like a toddler lives here because, well, she has all of her toys strung throughout the living room. And so we're going to get started now. I'm going to try and do this very detailed step by step, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask, and my son will let me know, and I will try and answer as quick as I can. The quilt is getting very bulky and very tough to move around, so you're probably going to see me struggle a little bit, and we're going to get started now. So here we go. I'm going to flip the camera, and now Chris is in control. So, move that out of the way for now. So what I'm doing now is I am just pinning my strip, my 2-inch strip that I ironed in half. I am now putting that just along the raw edge. So I have raw edge strip here along my raw edge of my quilt that I'm going to attach the border to. And because I have two different colors here, I have to be real careful about how I do this because I don't want them to be mismatched. So for this particular part, I am actually going to pin, and I'll probably stab myself 5 million times. So if you hear me screaming, that's why. Pin stabbed me in the leg. So I'm going to continue to pin this raw edge down on this front part, just for now, okay? And I actually recommend doing this when you're working with something that's quite large. The clips that I was using, they work just fine, these clips. However, for this part, because I don't want anything to move at all, I'm pinning. And I will show you how I'm going to do the back here in just a minute. So you can see how this is all going. Why is that knocking? I turned it on silent.
I think it's just viewers.
Oh, okay. So just pinning, and as you can see, my little piece here is getting kind of stretched, which we really don't want to happen, but I've got to get this so that it is pretty even here where the colors switch. So I'm going to have to work around it, which I will. Yeah, it's going to buckle crap.
Someone shared your post.
That's okay. You're probably going to hear some swearing here pretty soon. This is starting to tick me off just a tad.
You want to speak up a little bit?
No, not right yet.
Okay.
I'm still pinning. Alright, so I got that part kind of straightened out, I think, as good as I'm going to get it. Alright, now I'm going to flip this over and start praying that I don't screw up what I just did. Alright, so I have my pins in there. Now I'm going to put my 1-inch backing on here, and I'm going to stretch my quilt out just a little bit. I know you should never do that, but I have to at this point because I don't want to go back and sew more strips. So all I'm going to do is take the 1-inch strip that is not folded in half. This is the piece that goes on your back. The front piece was 2 inches. Let's see if I have an example. I do, of one that was ironed in half. So originally, so this is the front piece, okay, and this is 2 inches. Fold it in half and then you iron it down. This is what goes on the front. The back piece is only cut as 1 inch. This goes on the back. Okay? I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to just do it the same. I'm just following the pins that I did on the front, and I'm just pinning the back now and the front. So I'm pinning through both the layers, through all 3 layers there. Okay? I'm going to be so glad when this quilt is done.
Me too.
This one has been quite the task. I've actually been doing this one since January. And I can usually turn a quilt out pretty quick. But not this one. This one has just taken me forever to do. I apologize. I know watching me pin this is pretty boring, but I want you to get the total idea here of what I'm doing and how you do this, okay? Everybody has a different way of doing it. This is how I do it, and it's pretty simple. It just takes a little patience and some time, which is good. We're good. We're good. Yay, we're good. And then we're going to pin that one down. And then I'm just going to cut a little bit of this off. Not a lot, just a little, because just in case it moves, we're going to be good. Oh, my scissors. I wanted to talk about my scissors here for a second. Okay. So these are new for me, and they are Gingher scissors. Very sharp. They come with the blade. I think I paid 50 bucks for these at Joann's. And then I have the smaller pair of scissors that go with it, and I use that to cut my threads. So in case anybody was wondering what kind of scissors I have, that's it. Now we're going to come over to the sewing machine. And move. So, hang on a second. This moved a little bit, which is exactly what we didn't want it to do. Damn quilt, I swear. Piece me off. Sorry guys, just bear with me here for a minute. I have to fix my strips.
No comments so far, so.
It's okay. I think most people are at work.
Yeah, but there's like 47 views.
Awesome. Cool. Welcome. Welcome to everybody who's watching me make a mess out of my quilt.
It's an organized mess because you're tacking everything together.
I don't know how. I knew this was going to happen when I went to do this. This is what happens when you don't do things right the first time. You end up with this kind of malarkey. And you end up rigging it. in there already. Okay. So I know I have the wrong color thread in the machine at the moment, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. I won't start changing it until I flip it. Okay? So you're going to see the green thread or the blue thread or whatever thread. Sophie, you got to move. Sorry. And these are my little scissors that I was talking about. These are also Gingher scissors, very sharp, and they cut threads very well. All right, Chris, why don't you go behind over here, if you can get through, since I've had to move all the chairs out of the room.
No worries.
We're going to get started now on doing this. Like I said, I hope these pins don't catch on my legs like we did last night. That was painful. Put my needle down. And now I'm just going to start stitching with my walking foot. I'm not taking any back stitches in this because once I put the binding around it, everything's going to just hold into place just fine. My quilt is going to pucker a little bit because of what I did to it and trying to line those up, but I'm not worried about it. It's going to be just fine. This quilt is for me. I'm not giving it away, so, and like I told you earlier, it's full of mistakes. And you just sew this around. Pull that pin. It's going to help me. Now I'm not pulling on the actual back itself. I'm just helping it guide. It's helping me to keep it a little straighter than what I normally could. So I'm just going to keep going and keep sewing my way down. This is the same method that you use to attach blocks together, which I did a video on as well.
Did I record that one?
Your dad did that one.
Okay.
This one is just, Jesus, I hate this one. This gets so big. It's more a pain in the rump. Everybody has their own way of doing this. I'm sure there are some who think I'm doing this wrong. I'm not. This is how I do it. I do what works for me, and I'm just showing you in hopes that maybe it'll help somebody else who is having a hard time with this concept. I know this was a tough one for me to grasp at first. First quilt that I made like this was a total mess, but it turned out okay. It was a gift from my dad. I probably should have slowed down and taken my time, but I'm a marathon sewer, so.
I didn't get your face, sorry.
Stop and move the quilt around so that it stays straight. You notice that I'm using my walking foot, and that is because it just goes through all those layers really with no problem. I did the other side of the quilt with my all-purpose foot, and it was kind of a nightmare. Can everybody see what I'm doing okay? Can you all see how I'm stitching this down?
So far, no comments.
Okay, good. And that must mean they can hear me. Now we're getting to my favorite part, which is the end. I think it's everybody's favorite part. And then we'll see how well I really did. Ha!
You probably did great.
I'm pretty nervous. Okay, so our sashing is now attached. Here's our front part, okay? And then here's our back part. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach our border piece to our back. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But first I need to go to the ironing board and I need to press. Hi Sophie, I need you to move, sugar.
Got her on camera for a couple seconds. And then she just moved because she's like, I don't want to be on camera.
She took a couple steps away. She was like, fine, still my spot.
Hi, Solves. You're on camera again.
Sophie thinks this is her quilt. Don't be... Shh. They don't want to see that.
I was just showing her Sophie.
Oh, I thought you were trying to twirl around the room.
No, I was showing him Sophie.
360 degrees.
I could do that if you want.
No, let's not do that.
I won't do that. I don't want to make people sick. Because some people get all queasy when they spin.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to just go and I'm going to set the seams on the back. We're only worrying about the back sashing for right now, okay? Not worried about that front. And then I'm just going to open it up and press out. Open and press. Open and press. And my ironing board is not nearly big enough for this quilt. I saw this new one that they had at Bed Bath & Beyond, which is a jumbo-sized quilting board. And oh my goodness, I'm telling you right now, I need that thing. I need that. That's on my list of to-dos, of to-gets.
Is it expensive, though?
Yeah, it wasn't cheap. It's only like yeah, it wasn't too expensive. It was like $100.
Oh, okay. I'd make that in an hour.
Yeah.
That's pocket change.
Okay, so I'm going to point out my mistakes, just so that everybody knows that every quilt has a mistake in it, okay? You see here? It puckered, okay? When I was sewing, I puckered the fabric. I puckered the fabric here, and it looks like it's going to be like that on down the line.
Oh, Nike's careful.
Shoot, shoot. And it's because of that one piece that I was fighting with over at the board. Not worried. It's okay because look, it lined up. Yay! So I made it do that. But as I showed you, I caused my fabric to pucker on that side. It's also puckered a little bit on the front side. You know what? I don't care. It adds character to my quilt, and I'm perfectly okay with it. It's not going to be noticeable. I want to tell you about the 3-foot rule that I learned from a very experienced quilter. She told me, hold your quilt up and walk 3 feet back. She's like, if you can't see the mistake, it doesn't exist. And if you're up too close looking at a quilt trying to find mistakes, then that's a problem that you have. That's on you. So, for everybody who's worried about mistakes, every quilt has a mistake.
Just like every person.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to attach the border. Okay? Here's my border. I've quilted it. It's ready to go. It's long. It's beautiful. I love it. And so all I'm going to do now, because this, remember, this quilt has stuff on the front. So I need to make it so that it's going to go like this. So I'm in a good position here, I think, as I throw thread on my floor. I'm just going to start pinning it up. I'm actually going to flip it over so that I can line on this brown edge easier for myself. Then I can kind of see where I'm going with everything. How are we doing, Chris?
We're good so far. No comments.
Good.
58 viewers.
Good. All right. Welcome to the viewers. I hope you're finding this video a little bit helpful. I'm a little crazy today, so.
A little.
Right? A whole lot crazy. All right. So, again, I am going to pin this. Like I said, when I'm working with the larger borders, I just find it easier to pin it. It holds it together better for me. I love these little clips. I'm not a big pinning person. I normally would just eyeball this, but because I've spent so much time on this quilt, I really kind of want to make sure I get this on here correct. So what I'm doing is I'm pinning our border to that back piece. And it's a very thin piece. It's that 1-inch piece that we were talking about before. So you're just gonna line up your raw edges and pin on down the line. It really doesn't take that long to do, as you can see. Just get it on there and boom. So once this is done, I'm going to take a break, go have lunch, and then I will come back and I will do the binding around this quilt. And I've decided that I'm going to machine bind it instead of hand bind it, just so I can show you how to do binding as well. I'll show you how I cut my pieces and all of that. I do it the old-fashioned way. I don't have a bias tape maker or anything like that. Lord knows I wish I did, but I don't. So I do it the old way. Threads are annoying. Oops, get on there. Okay. So now we're ready to go back to the sewing machine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch right in here on this little piece that's going to put my backing and my border together. And Christian is going to stand behind us And he's going to show you so you can see how my foot fits in there. Okay. Again, I apologize for the quality of the video, but I am not a professional videographer.
And neither am I.
So we're just doing this Facebook Live so that you can see how to do this. I gotta think, yeah, it'll be okay to do it like this. All right, so this is a little more tricky when you're getting started here and going down. You want to make sure that if you have any little tails hanging out, which I always leave just a little bit extra, you want to make sure that you don't stitch that back one underneath. I've done that so many times. It's so frustrating. So make sure that it's all flat like this, that your back is flat, and mine is now, so it's good because it has a tendency to flip. And put my needle down, and you can see I have my walking foot ready to go. It's lined up on that edge, and now I'm just gonna sew in that little area. It does move. Sometimes it's off. Just keep following It'll be fine. It'll all attach fine. Stop every couple of stitches. Remove your pins. You don't want to dull out your needle. You can sew over them, but just be careful. You can break a needle doing it. I use top stitch needles for my projects. Oh, this quilt is so big and heavy. It's a very heavy quilt. Again, I'm not pulling it. I'm just trying to guide it because it is so heavy and there are so many layers in here now that it's really tough to sew it. So as you can see, you don't have a lot of room to really get in here with. So you've got to really kind of guide it. And that's why I said the pins are much easier, because it does slip a little with those clips.
This video keeps getting like blurry and then clear and then blurry and then clear.
Then pull back. It might be too close. Is that better?
A little. It's still getting blurry.
Let me see. Sorry, that's my hand. There it is. Now it's clear. So you can see it from my angle here. Okay?
That's it.
I don't know how to fix that. We're just about there. We're done, and so I just sewed a little bit off. That's why we have these little tags. Okay, so I mean, it's fine. So now I'm going to go over and I'm going to press our front piece over. I'm also going to change, oh, not yet. That was not smart. Not the smart. Jeez. Get yourself there. Well, it would help if my bobbin thread probably. What in the heck?
Excuse the language.
All right. Where'd my little scissors go? Just cut it off. Okay, they're probably on the floor somewhere. You don't need to push that in.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, we can leave it. We're going to be over there in a minute anyway. Okay, now I'm going to show you what we've done. All right, while the iron heats up. So, got thread everywhere. I'm going to have to vacuum again. All right. So what we just did was we just attached this side. We just attached this whole big side of the quilt. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back because I get asked that question a lot. So I'll take it from here for just a minute. No, it still needs you. But as you can see, this is our 1-inch strip that we had on our back. This is what it looks like once it's sewn on. Okay? That's what it looks like. And I haven't pressed it out yet, so it will get a little bit wider, but not much. And then when we stitch on top, it's going to look more like this. And since I'm using a decorative stitch on mine, it's gonna, that's what you're gonna see on the back side, on top of this. And then the rest is quilting from the actual quilt itself that I've done. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you now know what it looks like on your back side, okay? So I'm going to flip this back over to my son, and I'm going to have him video what I'm going to do next, all right? I appreciate you sticking with me. This is kind of a lengthy process, so, but I want you to have a good understanding of how to do this. Okay, so like I said, I need a bigger ironing board, but I don't have one. So we're going to make do with what we got. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold the top over. Now this is that one strip that we had put on our front. This is the 2-inch strip that's, or the 2-inch strip that's been ironed in half. That covers your front, okay? I think this one might be a little bigger. I don't know why, but I just do. So all I do with this is I just take it and I just press it down. And press it. So all I'm doing is pressing over our seam. I'm going to hide all that yucky stuff underneath it that that's in there. You can cut, let me get there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I really need my craft room or my quilting room to be done so that I can do this in my quilting room, but it's not done yet. So we just make do with the living room and the dining room. And I'll just keep pressing that down. Okay, so right here you can actually trim. You can trim this yucky part if you want to with the scissors, all right? However, I will tell you, be very, very careful when you do that, because I did that earlier with one of my blocks when I joined it, and I actually cut too close to the seam and cut a huge hole in it, and then I had to spend time fixing that. You don't want to do it, trust me. So I just try and just leave it alone. I try to tuck it under as much as I can when I'm going along. As you can see, I'm just kind of taking my fingers and rolling to flatten that out. You're not going to see it anyway. I remember I had a question about, do you add batting in between the strips? You can, or you can just go ahead and use the natural padding that it already has with this. So you don't really need to add any more batting in there. It gets thick enough as it is. Unless you're a pro and you can do this and make all your lines really, really super thin, then kudos to you. Teach me how, because boy, oh boy, I can't do it. Okay. So that part is done. And now we're going to go back to the sewing machine. You can pin that if you want to. I'm not going to pin it. I'm just going to eyeball it and I'm just going to sew it down. So. All right. I'm going to have to change thread in the middle of this because I don't want brown thread on here, on my blue, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to stitch pretty close to the edge, just to close this corner. And then when we're done doing that, I will show you what else we're going to do.
Okay.
So let's start that. My lines are never perfectly straight, by the way, no matter what kind of a guide I follow. So if they look crooked to you, that's because they probably are. It's okay. I can live with it. All right, so I'm going to stop there because now I need to change out my thread. Now I got to go to brown. Now, most of you won't need to do this, but because I've decided to use two different colored fabrics, we have to do it. I've also seen people asking a lot of questions about thread, shredding, doing goofy stuff on the back of quilts. Mine also did that. What I found that fixed the problem was I actually, and it's a royal pain in the butt, but I just took my bobbin out and I rewound the bobbin and that seemed to take care of that problem. So try that. That might work for you. It could also be your tension. But for me, it was my bobbin thread. So. See, and I'm going off, so I'm going to get myself back on track here. There's a lot of thickness here, so. Bless you.
Thank you, sorry.
I find that when the quilt starts to slide, that's when the stitching starts to go a little bit awry. You can roll the quilt. It doesn't work real well for me. So whatever works for you, do it. See, now I see all these little things that need to be snipped off my quilt. So, snip, snips. Getting closer. Yay. See, that's that marathon sewer in me. I just want to hit that pedal and just go. It's not going to work out for me on this. I just need to slow it down. Runaway foot pedal again.